Hello and welcome guys again. Abdulelah Muhammad Sofi with you, and today we will talk about network address translation or NAT. What is NAT? NAT stands for network address translation. It's a technology used in computer network to convert a private IP address into a public IP address. So it's you change the IP address that you have to a public one that been you can use it in your internet. NAT has different types. You have the static, dynamic NAT, and BAT, and also it's called overload NAT. Static NAT it's when you have one private IP address and one public IP address. So it's one to one. It's one to one and translation. But you have a dynamic NAT. A dynamic NAT it's when you create a list of public IP addresses pool. It's ready to use. So let's say you have a 10 of employee and you have a 5 public IP addresses and you create a pool. So each employee can take one public IP address by the time. So it can be changed. But when you use static, no. This employee that you give a public IP address, no one can take his public IP address. And static NAT is used to the servers, so you cannot change the IP of the servers every time. But after that you have BAT or overload. It's when it's you map a private IP addresses to one IP address. So you will use your maybe a single IP address, a single let's say your gateway address as your BAT. So you will translate every private IP address to this single public IP address. But what the different it's where the device will take or they will use the port number. And now let's go to the configuration. In this configuration, we will try to configure a static NAT, a dynamic NAT, and also overload NAT BAT. Let's start from this network. We have a private IP address and we wanna NAT it to this network, to this subnet. So let's start. We say in static it's one to one, so you will say IP NAT inside source. You will type static your mode. You will type your inside local IP address. Our inside local IP address, let's say PC1, it's 172.161.11. 2, we want to make it to 9. Let's say slash 99. We create the static list, the static IP. Let's say interface. you will define the inside and the outside. Let's try to ping. Before exactly before you configure a NAT, you should have uh, connection between all your topology. You can use any dynamic routing protocol that you want. For me, I used RIP. So let's try to ping now. Let's try to ping BC2. Yes, we can ping, but let's see the IP address that we ping. Show IP NAT translation. Yes, inside global, it's mean your public IP. Inside local, it's our private IP. So you have 1111, it's mapped to 99. This is how it's done static. So let's start now with the dynamic NAT. Let's go to the other router 21 and create the dynamic. First you will create the pool, you will say, or first you will create an access list that allow your subnet. You will say access list, any access list standard, let's say standard one with a number, let's say 1 permit. Let's type the wild. So we create the access list. There's hidden deny, we know that, but we don't want to change anything. Now let's create the pool IP NAT. It's IP NAT inside. Yes, pool. Let's name our pool. Let's say LAN 100. Yes, the start IP address. Okay, I'm sorry. We will say 192. We wanna take from 2.1.1.0. So we will say 2.1.1. From 77 to 2.1.1.88. Is that it? The network mask, it will be 255.255.255.0. We create the pool now. Now let's connect our access list to our pool. You will say IP NAT inside list. List source. Yes, I'm sorry, list. You will type your pool name. We name it LAN 20, right? I'm sorry, LAN 100. No. you will type the list number. It's number 1. After that, the pool name. Yes. Always make sure and enter. Now you will define the inside and the outside. The traffic, it will be going through router 21. So this is the inside, and go to the network, it's giga 01, it's the outside. So 00, it's IP NAT inside, and giga 01, it's IP NAT outside. Yes, let's say end. Now let's try to ping. Arrow up. This is the IP address of PC1, but it will not ping. I will show you why. Before we have a connection, but in this time no. Why? Because we map the IP address for PC1 to 99. So if you wanna ping PC1, you will type his public IP. So let's try now to ping his public IP. We say .99. It will be ping. The traffic, it will reach PC1. Let's make sure we map it to 1.1. Yes, it's correct. 9.1.1/20. I'm sorry, it will not ping because we change. Let's try to ping the something we now change. Let's PC4. It's 172.16.1.4. Okay, what's wrong? Before we have yes, I know what's the why it will not ping, because the access list. We didn't define the access list, the in and the out. So let's say interface giga 0/0. It's our, yes, it's in with the access IP access list group 1. It's in. Let's try now. Let's try it. IP access list.